You know that feeling when a song plays and it doesn't just hit, it haunts? That's exactly what happened the moment Justin Bieber's latest track dropped. This wasn't some pop fluff or studio polish flex, no, this felt like we had stumbled into something private, like we cracked open his emotional journal without asking. And before fans could even catch their breath, Selena Gomez posted a cryptic Instagram story, no picture, no tag, just a single chilling line. Some lessons take longer to learn. Some love just teaches you what you don't deserve. Coincidence? Not in 2025, not with the history these two carry. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Fans weren't just listening, they were analyzing, screenshotting, and whispering one brutal question. Is Justin finally admitting he messed up? This isn't just another breakup theory or overhyped fanfiction. This is a lyrical battlefield where verses sound like regrets and silence feels like strategy. Justin's voice trembles over raw guitar strums and Selena's subtweets hit harder than any press release ever could. The timing, the tone, the tension, it all points to something deeper unraveling. So what is this really? A confession? A cry for help? A hidden message to a love that never healed? One thing's for sure, this isn't just music anymore. This is a moment. And we're going to break it down piece by piece. When Justin dropped back when it was simple, fans were expecting moody R&B vibes, maybe a soft flex about his marriage, a few vague nods to his past. What they got instead felt like an emotional unraveling, raw, exposed, and brutally honest. The kind of lyrics that don't hide behind metaphors. They cut straight through. Lines like, "I miss the girl who knew me before the cameras," and "I traded peace for picture perfect," didn't just hint at regret, they drenched themselves in it. Within hours, Twitter threads multiplied, TikTok breakdowns flooded. For You pages and every fan group chat lit up with the same stunned reaction. Wait. Is he talking about Selena? And just when it felt like things couldn't get messier, the song dropped a line that stopped people mid-scroll. "She wore the ring, but not my soul." A sentence that set the internet on fire, not just because it was beautiful, but because of who it might be about. Suddenly, the happy, polished marriage Justin had portrayed with Hailey started to feel strained, like maybe the perfect photos were hiding something darker, like maybe love wasn't enough. And that's where the questions begin. Was Justin feeling trapped in a life that looked good on the outside but felt hollow within? Was this track a subtle cry for freedom or a goodbye wrapped in melody? Hailey Bieber has always appeared to be Justin's anchor, the calm in his storm, his ride or die, the one who stood by him when the world was unsure. But this song introduces a different narrative, one fans weren't prepared for. A quiet kind of heartbreak. The kind that doesn't scream but simmers. A love that looks flawless in photos but feels tight, boxed in behind the scenes. Listeners started pulling apart every lyric, every breath in the recording. Some lines felt like confessions, others like accusations. It looked right but didn't. "Feel free," he sings, and suddenly, fans weren't just questioning the past. They were reevaluating everything we thought we knew about Justin's present. Did he really move on from Selena, or did he just move forward, carrying the same emotional weight? And then came Selena's move, a quiet one. Just a story, no image, no smile, no brand deal, just words. Some love just teaches you what you don't deserve. It wasn't loud, but it was deafening. Because Selena Gomez doesn't need to name names anymore. Her fans are fluent in the language of indirect honesty. They know when she's talking about the past. They know when she's reflecting, and this time it didn't feel random. It felt strategic, purposeful, timed like a chess move, not a coincidence. And the internet, trained for years in the art of decoding their emotional crossfire, immediately drew the line back to Justin. This wasn't just a response. It was a reminder of what was, of what still lingers, of who the real muse might have always been. The fan response was instant and it was explosive. TikTok erupted with lip syncs, lyric breakdowns, and side-by-side clips of old Selena moments set against Justin's new verses. Twitter, yes, we're still calling it that, became a battlefield of hot takes and heartbreak. Reddit threads spiraled into full-scale lyrical forensics. Every line was dissected like a crime scene. I thought forever meant easy, but forever's been a fight. That didn't sound like someone content in love. It sounded like someone exhausted. worn down, still carrying the bruises of something unresolved. Then came the bridge. One line, quiet, whispered, but piercing. Some nights I still dream in your key. It didn't take long. Within minutes, over 40 TikToks have been made around just that one lyric. Fans weren't just speculating anymore, they were feeling it, deeply, because when the music feels like a diary, every listener becomes a reader, and every reader wants to know how the story ends. This wasn't just a track, it was a turning point, a reveal. And in the background, Hailey's silence got louder. The woman who had defended Justin through controversies and chaos now found herself in the eye of an emotional hurricane, one she didn't start but couldn't ignore. The fandom split into camps: Team Selena, Team Hailey. Team Justin needs therapy. But beneath the memes and the chaos, something very real was happening. A generation that had grown up watching these love stories unfold in real time was now witnessing a full-circle emotional reckoning. Not through paparazzi photos or tabloid interviews, but through art, through lyrics, through pain turned into melody. And that's what made this moment hit harder than any scandal, because it wasn't just gossip anymore. It was grief, unprocessed and unfiltered. To really understand why this song hit so hard, you have to rewind. Not just to last year, but over a decade. Justin and Selena weren't just a couple. They were a cultural moment. A teenage dream turned tabloid headline. Puppy love in 2011 that grew into passion, distance, betrayal, reunion, and then collapse. And through it all, they wrote the soundtrack to their own heartbreak. The heart wants what it wants. Love yourself. Lose you to love me. These weren't just hits. They were timestamps. Public diary entries that mapped their pain across our playlists. Every time they fell apart, they gave the world another verse. Another chorus, another chance to wonder, was it really over? But as the years passed, they stopped saying each other's names. The stories got quieter. Justin married Hailey. Selena focused on healing. They took different paths, or so it seemed. But this latest track shattered that illusion. It reminded everyone that history doesn't disappear. It lingers, it leaks. And sometimes it sings. When Justin whispers about the girl who knew him before the fame, people don't need a name. They already know. Because before there was road and red carpets and matching tattoos with a wife, there was Selena, goofy, grounded, and, according to Justin himself, unforgettable. So maybe this song isn't about relighting an old flame. Maybe it's about realizing some fires never fully burn out. They just smolder in silence until a melody brings them roaring back to life. For the first time in a long time, it feels like Justin is removing the mask. This track doesn't sound like a PR move. It doesn't feel engineered for the charts. It plays like a voice memo accidentally leaked, fragile, messy, human. And maybe that's why it's gripping everyone by the throat. Because behind the tattoos, the flashbulbs, and the billion streams persona, there's clearly a man who's still lost somewhere between regret and reality. This wasn't the version of Justin we saw in Vogue spreads or choreographed Instagram reels. This was the boy who never really got to be a boy, now finally saying, "I'm not okay." The pain isn't polished. The lyrics aren't vague. This is raw honesty disguised as a love song. And then there's Selena, a woman who's already walked this road. She's bled into her art, cried through performances, turned heartbreak into strength in real time. And now it's like the tables have turned. For once, Justin is the one catching up, trying to process, trying to heal. But healing in the spotlight is brutal. Every whisper becomes a headline. Every lyric becomes a clue. Every moment of weakness is picked apart and judged. And when your love life has been everyone's favorite drama for over 10 years, there's no such thing as closure, only reruns. That's why this track doesn't just feel like a new single. It feels like an emotional reckoning. A late arrival to a process Selena's already endured. And maybe that's what makes it so compelling. Because now the world isn't watching a pop star rise, it's watching a man unravel. Being in love is hard. Being in love under a microscope? That's something else entirely. For years, Justin and Hailey have tried to present a unified front. The elegant wedding, the magazine spreads, the Instagram PDA, but behind every curated photo, there's a pressure that's impossible to ignore. Millions of eyes watching, millions of opinions forming. And every rumor, every lyric, every silence is treated like a clue in some never-ending investigation. This latest track didn't just stir speculation, it cracked open something far more intimate: doubt. Doubt about how stable their marriage really is. Doubt about whether love that looks beautiful can actually feel suffocating. Because when Justin sings about being boxed in, when he questions if forever should feel this heavy, fans aren't just listening. They're reinterpreting everything they've seen over the past 5 years. And Hailey's response? Silence. A silence that's loud. A silence that fans are reading into with every breath. Normally she claps back, posts a quote, shares a selfie, something, but now? Nothing, and that nothing is echoing louder than any post ever could. Because when a song feels like a confession and your spouse doesn't deny it, the world notices. People are starting to wonder, is this marriage built on love or image? Was it healing or hiding? And the worst part? Hailey's been here. Before, always compared, always speculated about, always seen as the second chapter in a love story everyone thought had already ended. And whether fair or not, this song put her back in the middle of a storm she didn't ask for, but might now have to answer to. Line by line, the lyrics of Justin's song don't just suggest pain, they scream it in lowercase. I miss the way you laughed at things no one else got. For longtime fans, that line reads like a direct callback to how people always describe Selena: goofy, grounded, quietly electric. And then there's she's everything I thought I needed, but still I feel alone. That's not a love song, that's a eulogy. A eulogy for the kind of connection fame can't manufacture or replace. Even the most poetic line of all. Some nights I still dream in your key feels like a whisper from the version of Justin we rarely see. The version stripped of stadium lights and social media mass. Just a man still haunted by a harmony he can't forget. And maybe never will dot, so now we're left with a question that no lyric can fully answer. Is this Justin finally letting go, or is this the sound of him reaching back? Has Hailey heard these words and wondered where she stands? Has Selena seen the chaos unfold and felt relief or sadness? And us, the fans, the observers, the unofficial archivists of every smile, every tattoo, every post, we're caught in the crossfire of a love triangle that refuses to fade. But maybe this was never about teams. Maybe this moment in pop culture isn't about choosing sides. Maybe it's about finally acknowledging that love in its rawest form doesn't always give us clean endings. It gives us echoes, ghosts that sing, scars that rhyme dots, so whether you believe this track is a confession, a cry for help, or just closure in disguise, one thing is clear: this isn't just music anymore. It's therapy on a beat. And we're not just listening. We're witnessing the story isn't over. The next verse could drop any day. And when it does, you already know we'll be right here breaking it all down.